Hey, how's it going, everyone? It's Wizzy here, and today I'm going to bring to you a review of Wildbuster Hero of Titans, a new MMOARPG developed by Nuriworks. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. This is a game that I've been playing and streaming a lot lately. I have about 30 hours into it, according to Steam. I've seen practically all aspects of the game. I've been to the end game. I've leveled 2 characters to max. I'm working on a third right now. Um, I've played enough and I've seen enough that I feel like I can give a valid review of the game rather than someone who played for maybe 15 or 20 minutes or an hour and decided that, you know what, this might not be it, even though I haven't seen all the aspects of what this game has to offer. So, when you first start off, you find it on Steam, first of all, and there's 3 packages that you can get. There is the normal, the founder. The founder is $20. There is the deluxe, which gives you all the characters that they currently have out, some more character slots, some more bags, like inventory space, or personal storage, rather, and some of the things like that. And then there's Ultimate Edition, which gives you everything. Gives you a mount, and I don't believe it gives you a pet like the deluxe one does. Deluxe one gives you a pet as well, but it gives you the season pass as well, which unlocks all the future heroes that as they come out, and they have a 12-month cycle that they say that they're going to release all of those out on. But we will see as time will tell. So first of all, when you go and you create a character, if you just got the Founders Edition, you're only going to get 2 characters per faction. Now there's 2 factions. There's the Guardians and the Abandoned. Right now, there really isn't a difference between the two. Story-wise, yes, there is. Like the Guardians are all hell-bent on, killing the Abandoned. The Abandoned are like this ragtag group of people, and their leader doesn't want anything to do with the Guardians. Like she wants everyone to be in harmony and whatnot. And when you go and you create either one, or you go to either of these factions, you have 6 heroes, and you basically it's the same on both sides. There's 4 DPS, and there's 1 tank spec, and there's 1 healer spec for each faction. Now, I digress that the factions themselves don't necessarily matter. Maybe they will for PvP, because every guild can have both factions in it right now. You can party up with either faction. It really doesn't matter. It's kind of all personal preference. So you have the 4 DPS for the Alliance. Let's look at those guys real fast. We have the Titan Trooper, we have a Wild Commando, we have a Mechanics, and we have a Judgment Shooter. So every single one is going to have basically like an ability overview, and it's going to tell you the characteristics about each one. So let's just take the Judgment Shooter for example. She has a pet. She is an attack, damage based DPS, and she's long range. The Awaken is the healer. So she's the support class with mid-range combat, and she has a pet as well. And then Iron Wall, my bad, is the tank. All these other character slots that you see that are all locked, hopefully those are characters that'll be released here within the next couple of months. But right now this is all that you have for this faction. Now we're moving on to the Abandoned. It's pretty much the same thing. We have 4 DPS. We have the Vanguard, the Smuggler, the Undertaker, and the Bounty Hunter. And then we have the 1 tank, which is the Flame Waver, and then Noxious, which is the healer. Noxious is awesome, by the way. And yeah, I mean, it really all comes down to playstyle. So you have the Vanguard Blades, which is the first character I leveled up, who's like your rogue kind of like hierarchy. She has like a shadow step, but she also has a whirlwind, which I find amazing. Like that's why I chose her, and I was like, oh shit, a whirlwind ability. Smuggler is kind of like a mix between like this voodoo kind of person who's mid-range combat, an Undertaker, kind of like a necromancer, but not really. It's kind of weird, but it's also pretty awesome. There's a wide variety of characters, and they all do some pretty crazy stuff. So we're gonna go back to my current characters, and we're gonna go in and basically kind of see what the game is. So I'm gonna go ahead and go on a Noxious. My character called Poison. The second character I got to level 50. Let's see. So the way that this game works is everything is basically in like these social hubs. There's the main social hub called Dawn Hope, which is where I'm going to spawn in now. And then there's individual zones that have like quest hubs and whatnot. And then there's a dungeon entrance off of that. And then you go and clear the dungeon. It's like a progressive dungeon system. And there's different difficulty tiers to that dungeon system, with expert being like the max right now, at least. That's where all the high level, stuff is going on at. Okay, so I spawned over here by Dawn Hope. Probably should have gotten on one of my other characters because one of my other characters has the mount. Yeah, but anyways, I'm just here to show you guys what's up, what I think of the game, what the game has to offer, and all that kind of fun stuff. So this is very cartoony graphics, very like comic book-esque kind of thing. Everything is very sci-fi heavily inspired, which is great. Something that this market doesn't necessarily have, and it's kind of awesome. So this is the main social hub of Dawn Hope, right? So you have two different portals that you can go for. The Guardian one is up here, even though there's class trainers over and around this area, and then the Abandoned is down here. They have a like communal stash tab thing, right? So it's got the storage, it's got the count-wise storage, and then it's got your personal storage. This is what I was talking about certain things being locked, that the packages will unlock for you right now. There is no cash stop. There's no cash stop currently in the game as we speak, so everything is kind of like iffy about what's going to come out. Like, hopefully the developers listen to what we have to say, and majority of it is just like cosmetics. Not majority, actually all of it is cosmetics. When you go into your operative information, it says there's a slot for an outfit, which I'm okay with there being like costumes and whatnot. I'm okay with there being vanity pets. I'm okay with there being fancy mounts. Like, I understand that Nuriworks has to make money in some way, shape, or form, so that's great. But yeah, so there's dailies. As you can see, there's a bunch of people right here. There's a lot of stuff going on with the game. So from a PvE aspect, as I was saying earlier, they've got these dungeons, but I'm going to show you like the map. Right, so everything is broken out into these zones. So you have Dawn Hope, which is the main social hub that you're always going to come back to Dawn Hope. Even through all the difficulty resets, you're always going to go to Dawn Hope. Then you have Crosslink, West Camp, Entropy, and the barracks. So let's just go to Crosslink, for example, so I can show you guys what it's talking about the whole. It's a zone within the main zone. So this is the main zone, and the dungeon portal is all the way down here. There's like a bunch of like guys that you can talk to. Some of them give quests, as you can see. I have a quest right now that I can turn in. Great. So I'm qualifying for the Perfect Phallic raid currently on this guy. But that's all the in-game stuff that I will talk about in a bit. Alright. So this is the dungeon portal. Now, as you can see on your left, there are 3 difficulties right now. There's training, which has 4 slots. You go all the way up to Labyrinth. You're following a quest chain. It's introducing you to the game. That's basically what training's for. Training will last about until level 20, because you have to do training for every dungeon and every zone. And then you unlock normal. Normal adds this PvP area. It's like an open world. I wouldn't really call it open world, but it's an open area. It's not like a dungeon base. So there, it's open. There's a bunch of mobs in there. There's a bunch of like mini bosses and stuff that you have to find. And apparently, if other players are in there as well, they can attack and kill you, or you can attack and kill them if they're from the opposing faction. And then there's expert, which is currently what the end game is, and it's currently what I'm on. And you're not going to unlock expert until you get to level 50. That is pretty much when this game's end game begins. So yeah, mission levels for 50. You have to be level 50, and you have to complete every dungeon on the normal difficulty. It's really not that bad. It takes about 6 hours right now to get to the level cap of 50. And then once you are, level 50, as you can see down here, my experience till next rank is 504,702. So what they have after post 50 is they have this Paragon system. I don't really call it a Paragon system. They call it their rank system. It's whatever. So you start off as a for the abandoned, at least you start out as a brat. It puts a little duck next to your name. I wonder if it'll, yeah, you can see I've got the next one up there. But anyways, it'll give you the brat. You have to go all the way from level 1 to 50 before brat's still there, and then you'll unlock basically the XP, and I think it's at like 550,000, I think is what it is, XP that you have to get for the next rank. And then once you get the next rank, you'll get rookie. Great. All right, I have rookie right now. So it gives you like all stats plus 2, gives you life leech, or just give you leech. I actually don't know if that is life leech. Access to squad leagues, permission to form alliances, and it just keeps going down. So when I get to the next rank and 504,000 experience, I'll get regular soldier, which is all stats plus 2, and then I get plus 5 strength, and then I'll get all stats plus 2 again, and recovery rate plus 10%, all stats plus 2. It keeps going on. So there's a lot of stuff to do post 50, which is great. It's not something that you see a lot. So it gives you that MMO kind of in-game grind mixed with an ARPG grind, because there's a shit ton of gear that you have to get. There's a lot of crafting going on. There's a lot of enhancements. There's like a lot of re-rolling gear, all that kind of stuff. But anyways, look at the other grades. So there's warrior, mighty warrior, everything's got +1, all movement speed increase, all stats, party attack intensity, laborers. So like all these little icons that you see here will all go right next to your name, kind of like how that one is. So I don't know what the XP values are going to be down there. Like as you see, this Sinistar, I don't know who it is, but we're just using it as an example. Has the duck, so she's still a brat, right? And even when you go and level alts, they're all going to be brats as well until they get to level 50, and then once you level 50, your rank, your whatever they call it, your rank system will take effect, and you'll instantly bump up to whatever all your other classes are. So that's why we say it's like a Paragon system. And then you got these gunners, which is all the endgame stuff. And so Commander-in-Chief, grade 10, all stats +5. Looks like all these are all stats +5. That's all subject to change, because I wouldn't say it's impossible to get here right now. We're just talking a lot of experience, a lot of grinding to get all the way up there. So let's go ahead and talk about gameplay. So we'll go into a portal. I'll do one on normal, so you can I'll plow through it because I'm in expert level gear, but I don't want to do an expert dungeon because I don't want to get my face killed. Expert level dungeons solo are really hard. That's another thing I love about this game too, is that I went into the wrong. My bad. I really went into the wrong one. Expert level dungeons are really hard. Think of it as like the heroic version of all the dungeons. You don't necessarily have to get a party, because you can pretty much clear all the trash up to the boss by yourself. It's just once you actually take on the boss, you'll get demolished. So there's a huge emphasis on party play. Noxious is a healer, so it's real easy for me, for example, to get parties, because everyone needs a healer. There's only one healer per faction right now, so there's only 2 healers in the game, and not everyone's gonna be one. But yeah, as long as you have another DPS at least, it's pretty viable. I was doing expert dungeon levels or expert dungeons this morning, and everything was pretty good. All right, so let's show you a bit of the combat. I have the volumes turned off. So this is something that it does on occasion. Hopefully they fix that. As the first time you go into a dungeon after restarting it, there'll be a frame drop where it kind of like freezes for a second. So here's the combat. It's all click to move right now. There's no WASD. It's very, ARPG, atypical combat style. You have your dodge. You got some AOE abilities. It's all that kind of stuff. And then you have your ultimates, which charge. Like I can use mine every 4 seconds. It does a bunch of damage and it heals up everything. Alright, so let me look at the actual skills. How do they do their skill system? So you got your passive, and then you have one for QWER, and then your ultimate, which goes on F. And then you have 3 skill bars that you can have. You can interchange between them. One thing I've heard people say is that when a skill is on cooldown, you can switch a bar and use the same skill that's on that slot. So like I can use my Q and then switch to another ability and then use my other Q again. But there's 3, so it's not necessarily like viable. I don't know. There's potential to work with that system if you want, but it is what it is. So you got 2 abilities per per binding. Some classes are different. Like the Awaken has 3 for her W, which I believe is the animals. She has got 3 animals, but you know that it's special circumstances. It looks like they're gonna add different abilities. It's just not something that's implemented in the game right now. So, but every character has at least 2 per binding. You automatically start with all of them being unlocked, and then you can level them up. And then once you get them to level 11, you have to get this skill enhancement stone in order to get it to level 12. And once you get that stone, you can automatically upgrade it. So I think that's a great system personally, because one, it's more grinding. Yeah, sure, like it's still an ARPG though, and it's still an MMO, so it's got to have some kind of grinding. You don't want everything handed to you, you know what I mean? And another thing that you can do as well is that on the skills you can get mounting slots. Now once you buy this mounting slot, it costs 100,000 gold and it goes up 100,000 per tier. You can get little like skill enhancements that you can put in there, and it'll change the skill in some way, shape, or form to where, like I saw one in the game right now, and of course I get stunned because it drop ships. This is something that happens a lot too, is these fucking carriers. But yeah, that's another story. Let me kill this guy real fast. My bad. I've seen one in the game so far, and it gave the guy reduced mana cost and health back every time he used it. So it's things like that. Think of like support skills from Path of Exile, if you will. I'm assuming it's going to be some things like that. As more come out, you know, we'll see. The only problem with all this is that the game's only been out for 3 days, so it's really hard to make assumptions like that, you know what I mean? But anyways, so this game also has crafting. I don't really think it'll like show you what you can craft, but I'll go to the hub later and show you. But this also has a rep system. So like for example, the Matilda Bridget, yeah, I swear I can read. I have her on the friendship tier, if you will. So same with actually all 3 of these, for example. And then once you get them, like you build up their rep with them, you build up their rep by doing quests and dailies, and you know, things that they need you to do. Kind of like pretty much every MMO in existence. You'll get stuff from them, and you'll get it in your mailbox. And yeah, that's pretty much it. And it keeps going up. You know, you pull it out, you get the first aid kits. Trust, there's nothing implemented for any of the trusts. So getting revered, for example, if you want to use World of Warcraft, reference, there's nothing in it. Hopefully they'll fix that so we can kind of see like what we'll get if we get it that far, but maybe they won't, because it's gonna take a lot. Like I've practically done all the quests, so the only way for me to level up this rep is continuing like my raid quest progression, which is totally different, or just doing dailies over and over again. Yeah, so that system is pretty cool as well. Now the other thing I want to show you is they do have dailies and they have weeklies, and they also have like quests per dungeon, and they have an overall story quest. Honestly, it's kind of bland, but that's not why you're in this game. You know, you're not here for the story. You're here to, you know, destroy things in a dungeon, party up with people, go do the raids, you know, like have those intense boss fights, and the boss fights are really intense. If I can, I'll put up a clip of me on my stream fighting a boss, an elite level boss, with some of my viewers. It gets pretty crazy. There's a lot of stuff going on the screen. Yeah, it's pretty intense, if I do say so myself. So the last thing that I want to talk about is the crafting system. This is something I've highlighted a little bit here and there. I really wish I would have put a mount on this. It's making this review a little unprofessional, but that's fine. I just want to get this out there because people are constantly asking about, when are you going to do like an overview of this, because I would like to know, but I don't always like see you online for your stream, so I can't necessarily ask you. And I'll ask you in game, but it's not the same as like getting a visual representation. So the last thing is the crafting. You can craft things, armor, weapons. You can upgrade your jewelry. You can do all these kind of stuff. So first, I want to show you what was over here. So this girl, this abandoned armor smith, Sinpei, she works for the abandoned, so it's faction specific stuff. She can craft you practically all your tiers of stuff. So all the way from level 10 up to level 50, which is currently the max rank. Now, there are 2 sets of level 50 gear. There is the one that you can get. All right, so this Tarasca backpack. That's the first level. It requires a perfect Felix energy shield, a Moticon charge substitutor, and then heavy canis ore. So you get ore. You can either find that in game, like in the dungeon itself, and you can mine it, or you can get it from disenchanting gear. And there's a bunch of different tiers of the ore, and different levels of gear will like disenchant for a certain amount, and all the other kind of stuff. But these 2 drop from actual bosses, so you have to go and farm the boss themselves. You gotta figure out which boss drops what. So this one is Felix, so you have to go farm Felix for it, and you'll get it, and then you can take it back to her, and then you can craft it. And then you have the next tier of stuff, which is, I'm assuming all of this comes from the raids. I'm not entirely sure, but like the in-game raid boss, like Brooke, for example, you have to get 3 of these exo limbs. You have to get 3 of these the tail circuits, and then you gotta get 1 Gordo's chin. These are all in-game bosses for the dungeons, or this could be in-game raid stuff. I'm not entirely 100% sure. I'm assuming this is raid because it is purple, but we will see. And like Brooks, for example, is an elite mission boss that is from an actual raid. So it's got a bunch of that kind of stuff going on. It's the same with weapons too. It's the exact same system. The weapon vendor for Abandon is down there, but it's pretty much exactly the same thing. So this is all the ore that I was talking about. There's different tiers of it. You can start all the way at the basic, and then this guy, Bond or whatever, he can re-roll your gear. That's something I'll show you in a second. But he can also like change the ore. So if you get the very, very basic, the molecular canis ore, he'll take 5 of them, upgrade it to canis, and then it'll go to heavy for the same thing, and then dense. And then dense is like the end one, and it just it keeps going up. And then there's perfect ores, where you need 1 of all of it. Yeah, there's a lot of grinding. I'm just going to say that there is a shit ton of grinding that you have to do in this game, which I'm honestly okay for, because that means that the 6 hours that it takes for you to go to 1 to 50 means that it's going to be, potentially like 100+ hours before you get, to like everything that you could possibly want on your character, which I think is great. That gives you that MMO feel. It gives you the longevity of the game. You're going to want to keep coming back and playing it because you don't know necessarily what's going to drop, and you can find some amazing gear. You can get a bunch of expert level stuff, and then you can go things and do things like this, where let's just say, okay, for 10,000 gold I can re-roll the properties. So this is rare level gear. This is currently what I have because I just unlocked expert and I was only farming it this morning. But oh yeah, there's my perfect Felix raid permit. Anyways, so there's different levels of it. Uniques have 5, epics have 4, rares have 2, magic has 1, and then there's the default gray level gear. And then you go ahead and reroll. So yeah, I got 10,000. Might as well reroll it. Just so I can show you, and it rerolls everything. Woo. Okay, I'm gonna do some effects. Blah blah blah. So agility +7, armor +14. That's actually pretty terrible. And then you can keep re-rolling it. The price of it goes up every time you do re-roll it. Something else you can do too is you can reinforce. I have an enhancement stone that if I really wanted to, I can use to like reinforce my gear. I'm saving that for the epic level stuff at least, unless I find the unique, and then I'll invest more of my crafting materials into that. But there's a lot of stuff going on with this game. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much about it. It's got alliances. I'm currently in an alliance right now, Warsong. We've got 10 members right now. Thought we had more, but people are coming and going. That's fine. That's how the nature of the game is right now. Everyone's kind of like re-rolling stuff. And yeah, it's great. So another thing that this has too, real fast, since I'm right here, before I forget, is it has pets. Pets are bought with in-game currency, and they do things like increase your stats by 4, increase your stats by 6, increase all your stats by 8, which is, I think, is the best personally. Like movement speed, and then dodge chance, stuff like that. So, but yeah, I mean, that's pretty much about it. I want to say I covered practically all of it. The PvP aspect, aside from the open world, is the squad league stuff, and they do have the arenas that you can go and join for. The system itself isn't necessarily working right now, but I mean, that's understandable. It's an early access title. It just came out 3 days ago. Not everything's going to be implemented. That's fine. That's not that big of a deal. As long as they update it and the stuff eventually starts working, or they give us like an ETA when they plan on fixing some of that kind of stuff, great. It's awesome. But yeah, if you're looking for a new like ARPG kind of thing, something that blends a little bit of like an MMO kind of stuff, it's awesome. There's a lot of potential here. There's a lot of in-game content. I don't think, honestly, that you're gonna be disappointed. Once you find a class that you enjoy, you want to develop all that time into, by all means, go for it. If you have any further questions, you can find me on my stream, on Twitch. I try to stream pretty much every day. I try to answer all the questions that I get as much as possible. That's part of the reason that I'm making this video, is because this is kind of like a summary of all the questions that I'm constantly getting asked. So I want to show what I can. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. Like, you can ask in the comments of YouTube as well. I'll get back to you when I can. You can follow me on Twitter and tweet at me. Whatever floats your fancy. I'll make a more quote-unquote professional review video for this game, where it like breaks it down, has gameplay video clips and all that kind of stuff. I am working on that, but I just wanted to get this video out because it was like a frequently asked questions, a review kind of thing. So like, on that note, yes, I do recommend this game. If you like ARPGs, if you like MMOs, if you like this kind of combat system, if you like partying, yes, like partying, woo. No, but like actual like group events, group dungeons, group raids. Like, raids go up to 15 people right now, which is practically crazy considering it's an ARPG. You know what I mean? Like 15 people on the screen trying to take down a boss. That's how many people you need to take down a boss in this game. It's crazy. It's not like your 40-man raids from WoW kind of stuff, but this is also a different kind of game. So let's back away from that. There's also 2 more difficulties coming out down the road. There's a bunch of classes coming out. Like, there's a lot of stuff that is gonna happen with this game, and I'm excited to see what happens. And I wish that you guys would join me on that journey and finding out what's gonna happen with this game, following it, being a part of it, being a part of the community that it's creating, because it's, I'm not gonna lie, it was pretty sweet. So yeah, so I mean, thank you for watching. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'll be making more videos on this game for sure. Eventually I want to make a better review video, which I'm going to do. It might take a week to come out because there's a lot of clips and stuff that I got to farm and a lot of editing involved. I also want to take each individual class once I get to level 50 and give a brief overview of the class, what it has to offer, what it gives, like in party situations, other kind of stuff, like the gameplay style. So if you are interested in any of that, by all means, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can follow me on Twitch, or you can follow me on Twitter. You can tweet at me. You can do whatever the hell you want. But yes, I mean, that's just pretty much about it. And so thank you for watching, and I will see you guys around.